All right, everyone. It is that time again. It is 3 p.m. in Kitsap County on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, 74 degrees. This is our conversation in housing concerns with the Bremerton Housing Authority and KCR. Hit the horn for that one. Hit the horn. Let's go ahead and bring our folks on. First, we have Executive Director Jill Stanton. How are you doing today, Jill?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
All right. Perfect. And Katie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I do have some people on the sides of me that you do hear noises. So I'm muting myself sometimes, so you have to remind me. But hi, Marwan. I'm doing good.
No worries. Well, you know what? If there's more than one, that means it's a party. So we love that. And Matt, how are you doing?
Good. Good to be here.
Awesome. Well, the gang is all here, so we're going to have a great conversation. As you know, we had our pancake breakfast last week, so we don't get to really get into our housing conversation. And so it's been like 2 weeks, so it's been a while. So I'm sure there are some awesome updates and information. So let's jump right in. Katie, let's start with Bremerton Housing Authority. What's new in the zoo?
Oh, I think, Jill, you wanted to start with an update on public housing waitlist.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so not usually as exciting as the HCP waitlist opening, but our public housing waitlist is going to open. So it will happen in September, but we don't have the dates yet, and we'll do a similar outreach campaign as we did for the HCV waitlist, and we will be doing that waitlist in Rent Cafe as well. So that's upcoming. And then the other kind of exciting news is we are also going to be issuing a request for proposals for project-based voucher projects. Right now, I think we're just planning on doing it for projects that already exist. So we have two options. We can do it for projects that exist, and we can do it for new construction. Because I'm not aware of any new construction projects that are far enough along in the process for us to commit to project-based vouchers right now, I think we're just going to do the existing projects, because I do know there are some organizations that have affordable housing right now and could really use the vouchers. So don't have an exact date for that. We just made that decision today. And then the final thing that I was just going to touch on here is the emergency vouchers. So they will be expiring sometime next year. I have one of our staff members looking that up right now. I think it's December of 2023, but that will come and go. I mean, that will come quickly, and we still have at least 12 of those vouchers that have not leased up yet. So I'm having one of our staff members, Lori, who's been on the show before, she is going to start doing some heavy outreach to the organizations that have yet to get their referrals housed and see what we can do. If there's anything that we can do to help with that, or if the vouchers are going to expire, is there maybe a different household that may be more successful? To look at these as a community, not just as an individual organization. And certain there's been certain organizations like your organization, Marwan, and then Scarlet Road, that were really successful in getting the people that they referred in, getting them into actual housing. So, we just want to make sure that as a community, we don't lose even one emergency housing voucher.
So is it something that us organizations should be bringing to you now then? Like, hey, we've got a family or
Well, I think let's wait until we've reached out to all of the organizations who have not yet used them, because I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. But I would definitely be thinking about it, if you have a family, and uh, we'll have more information maybe next week, but it certainly may be an opportunity that we bring to you.
So can I take the temperature and ask, has it been harder to find placements for folks versus when we first were were jumping into the voucher program? I can't even remember how long ago that was now. It seems like forever. But is it more difficult, the same? Has it eased up a little bit?
It has eased up a bit because of the payment standards going up. That was really helpful. Um, so there's more units available. The thing with the emergency housing vouchers is there's just some of these households have significant barriers, whether it be uh, poor rental history or not great credit, things that take time to really repair. And so we're finding that. This is one of the things that Lori will be exploring when she reaches out to the agencies who have yet to get their households leased up, is what are those barriers, and do we need to look at something in a different direction? Do we need to buy more houses? I don't know what the answer is, but
yes, buy more houses.
Yeah.
Like 2,000. Can you buy 2,000 houses?
Yeah, so that would be a dream, right?
That would be awesome. That'd be fantastic. So that's good to know for sure. I think I've been hearing that same kind of sentiment. It has been a little bit easier, but I mean, just a little. Still pretty tough out there. So getting yourself set is very important. So you present yourself in the best way possible. And Lori's program is going to be starting here soon, correct? We're getting closer and closer.
Katie, do you have an update on that?
Yeah, so Ready to Rent, which is the 6-week education program for renters, just to learn more about repairing their credit, looking at the credit reports, how to talk to landlords. It'd be really helpful to help them in their search. Laura and I were just meeting. She's finished all the curriculum. We were just meeting to figure out our outreach, and she still wants to do the class in September. There's just some logistics. She's figuring it out still. But hopefully we'll be able to announce it, and I'm pretty sure we'll be announcing the launch of the outreach campaign on the Conduit. So hopefully that will be soon. She's just finishing final details on posting the event for registration, which will be through Eventbrite. We'll be posting, of course, on our Facebook page and our website, but also be presenting here and doing different outreach campaigns to our partners to make sure that anybody who wants to sign up can, and that we have the space and the capacity to do that. So
Nice, that is fantastic. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I think that's a huge resource for sure. I think this is going to be very beneficial to the community to participate in that program.
And other updates, we are doing it's National Immunization Awareness Month. So in honor of that, we partnered with the Kitsap Health Department to the health district to put on a COVID clinic at one of our properties. So at our property at the Summit on August 25th, it's an open, free pop-up clinic for COVID vaccines. We'll have first, second, and booster shot doses available for anybody over 5, and anybody's welcome. We have the information on our website, and you can also pre-register, which is recommended by the Kitsap Health Department, just to make sure you have all the paperwork in, but there'll be registration on site as well if you don't get that link soon enough. So again, that's August 25th at the Summit.
No. What time?
Yeah.
12 to 2.
12 p.m. to 2 p.m. All right. And that is right next to Winco, correct?
Yeah, here, I will. So if you go to our site, emertonhousing.org, there's a news article on the right side, and you could share that. If you go home, and then the first news article, right on the right side, go down. There we go. And on the news article, click on that link.
All right. So BHA and Kitsap Public Health District to host a pop-up COVID-19 vaccine clinic In recognition of National Immunization Awareness Month, BHA is collaborating with the Kitsap Public Health District to offer COVID-19 vaccines and boosters to the community. This free pop-up clinic will be set up at one of our residential properties and is available for anyone in the community 5 years of age or older. So I'll type all this, put this in the chat for everyone. Again, that's a Thursday, August 25th, 12 to 2 at the Summit at Bay Vista, 4650 Bay Vista Boulevard. We'll continue to share this information out as it gets closer to time, for sure. We were there yesterday along with BHA feeding the community. Shout out for that. All right. Love hearing about that community work and effort there. That's fantastic. All right. Thank you for that information. I love
And
showing people the website whenever I can.
Katie, did you want to talk about the back to school supply drive along with that?
Yeah. So this came up in many of our discussions about how we can support our residents, and our staff likes to give a lot. And actually, we just had a non-perishable prepackaged food drive that our housing staff kind of asked just anybody to donate some food, and they got 52 gallon-sized bags of food that they could hand out to homeless individuals in parking lots around our area. It was an amazing show of how giving our staff is. And so we are also at the same time doing a school supplies drive for our residents. So we're gathering school supplies, not necessarily specific to, like, all the schools have very different supply lists, but just high demand school supplies like pencils, markers, crayons, notebooks. From our staff. Whoever wants to donate can donate, and then we are going to gather that up and allow the households in each of our properties to grab some school supplies. So it's an exciting time and really great opportunities to give.
Awesome. I love that. Maybe I could reach out to some of the school districts and get their list and see if there's some overlap, like you said, pens and pencils, or what are the supplies that seem to be in short supply. We need 3-ring binders or whatever it is, a protractor. Do they
One
still
thing,
use protractors?
One thing we noticed is that because of with COVID money, a lot of the schools are able to provide supplies. So it's a little different than what we are used to when we think about school supply lists. Some of the schools in Bremerton are only requiring individual headsets and things like that, and they're providing the rest of the supplies. But these, everybody needs them at home and to share and to take them to school. And if there's anything left over, we're donating it to the schools as well.
Nice. That's awesome.
And this is specific for our residents. So they're going to be able to sign up and pick it up from their property managers and the community connections team at the properties.
So Katie, if they have those supplies, how should they get them to you, to BHA?
Oh, that's a good question. We can accept community donations. I don't see why not. If somebody wants to bring supplies in, we have a list. What do you think, Jill?
Yeah, Marwan, I'll email you we've got this advertisement, I guess. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but let me get it over to you because there's a link on it. This is sign up here. Oh, the drop off is Katie Sharp's office in the 6.
It might be empty right now. I mean, who knows what it looks like right now?
Yes, well.
But I would say if any community members want to drop off, I would say bring the flyer and with the supplies, drop it off at the front desk, and they'll be able to drop it off in my office.
Perfect.
I wonder if this is on the website.
If you have it, you can always share. You can share your screen, Jill, if you want.
Oh, I'm emailing it to you right now.
Oh, okay.
Does that work?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Hey, where do you drop these things off, Jill? Oh, it's your office, Katie. That's where they're going.
I volunteered. I'm in many groups here. Yes, so.
Well, see, that just goes to show how awesome you are, right?
I'm in Port Townsend still. I think I'll be in Port Townsend until the end of the month. So then school will start.
All right, so we'll wait for that to pop through. Oh, I got it here. I gotta forward that to myself here, and then I will pop that up. So in the interim, do we have any other updates and cool things from the Bremerton Housing Authority?
Oh, I did want to mention Matt and I were in a Kitsap Housing Coalition executive meeting today, and it was really interesting because a community member who had participated in the Project Connect in prior years back wanted to participate in maybe helping us get that off the ground this year. So our executive team is new. The vice president has stepped in temporarily while the president is out. And so we're just kind of figuring out our infrastructure. So it was really helpful for him to join, talk about Project Connect, and really get our minds in that mode of creating this resource fair for the point in time count. So what it is every year before COVID, the coalition, one of its main action items was to organize this Project Connect fair along with the point in time count. And so there was 3 different locations, and they'd have a lot of resources, hygiene kits, haircuts, vision exams, things like that, in Kingston, Port Orchard, and Bremerton. And since COVID, of course, we haven't had that. And it was a good way for others to come get some resources as well as fill out the point in time count survey. So we're just talking about it now. I just wanted to talk about it here as like, if anybody listening has joined before, has any insight, we are always looking for more participation in that as we get it off the ground. So I just wanted to mention that we are thinking about it, and right now it's really important to our community to continue those types of activities as we get more comfortable being in person. We're really on the ground floor right now, but if anybody has any insight or wants to help with that resource fair in January, please reach out to me. You can put my email on here.
I'll pop it.
Do you have my email, Marwan? Okay.
I do. Can you tell us what is Project Connect? What is that?
It's a resource fair that has I wouldn't say it's kind of like vending booths, like tables, but it's like more like community resources, homeless services can set up a booth at any of these 3 locations and talk about their services or provide information. Maybe the Housing Solution Center would set up a booth and collect information to get people through the navigation, the housing navigation process. It's just a way to reach out to those who, again, aren't electronically able to fill out these survey forms, really reach out to those who are homeless on the streets during the point in time count, those who we are trying to count, so we have accurate numbers for that count. And I haven't helped much with it. I know Matt could speak more on the point in time count too.
Matt, you want to jump in?
Yeah, no, Katie did a great job of talking about the gist of Project Connect. So it works in tandem with the point in time count. So Commerce has all the different continuums of care, and Kitsap's continuum of care is the Kitsap Housing the Homeless Coalition. It's all the providers that are working with unhoused folks. And we do a count once a year to try to get numbers, right, of how many people are actually experiencing homelessness, how many people are in shelters, how many people are in transitional housing. All the different types of services are counted. And so there's a point in time count outreach side, and that's a lot of what I've done and other folks is we go to different encampments throughout Kitsap County, and we actually survey folks. And folks don't have to give us their name or if they don't want to participate, but we at least still count them even if they're not don't want to be identified. If they are okay participating, then we have a whole kind of survey that we fill out and helps provide demographic info, their prior situation, why are they unhoused. We try to collect as much information as possible. And then the other side, so there's the outreach side, and then there's kind of the in-reach side, which is this Project Connect Fair. And so the idea is a lot of folks that are unhoused might want to come to a resource fair. We can also do the survey, get them connected to Housing Solutions Center. There's doctors, there's vision folks, haircuts, food, different supplies for living outside. So it's kind of an incentive to come in and then participate in the survey and also get connected to community resources. So those two work in tandem together. And that's typically done in the beginning of the year, January, February. This year was done a little bit later. Everything's kind of shifted because of COVID. So probably this will be coming up in January, February of 2023.
Nice. And if folks want to get involved, who should they reach out to again?
Oh, they can reach out to me. I can get the information to them. We're, again, on the ground floor and just trying to see what our resources are to get this event going.
Nice, absolutely. So for those that are just listening, that's Katie Sharp, K-Sharp at bremertonhousing.org. All right, now I've got the flyer here, so let me go ahead and, pop that up. That's not the flyer. Pop that up for folks to see here. All right, there we go. Back to school supply drive. Bremerton Housing Authority is providing school supplies to all BHA property residents. This would not be possible without you. Sign up and make a donation, then drop off the supplies by August 19th. So you got 16 more days, or you can sign up. There is a link there. I'll put that in the chat so you can see it. And again, donations are due by August 19th. So that is fantastic. Thank you so much. Man, Bremerton Housing Authority sure is doing a lot of cool, innovative things. Pretty exciting. Just got to say, I love it. Pretty nice. All right.
And I think the moral of the story is what's that?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you have any problems, go to Katie. That's the moral of the story.
Oh, God.
Supplies, if you have Project Connect issues, Katie Sharp will take care of them.
Yeah, and yeah, it's kind of an exciting time. Thank you for acknowledging. We're trying to be innovative, just trying to get the word out. We do a lot here, but sometimes it's really internal to us, and so just having the conduit every week helps us share information that we normally wouldn't do without anything formal. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, there's a lot of, it's like a school drive, a pop-up event. This is going on. We got vouchers. We're purchasing this property. Oh, we've got a class. It's like it's constantly just new stuff coming. So you can see it. It's just high energy and, here's some DE&I training. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Give you the horn for that. Fantastic. All right, man. Why don't you jump in here? What's good?
Well, we're continuing to remind folks about the community needs assessment. Do you have that link, Marwan, from last time?
I do have that link. Let me go ahead and pull that up while you talk there.
So we've talked about a little bit before. We've talked about the coalition. I think we'll talk about the next coalition meeting too. But this is a big survey for Kitsap County to help KCR and other organizations. There's multiple sponsors of the community needs assessment, and this is helpful for the entire community to know what our community wants, what they want out of community services, especially Kitsap Community Resources, and to help us make funding decisions about where to go and how to serve. So anyone can take that. We want everyone in Kitsap to take it, but specifically folks that use community services, we love their feedback, since a lot of times they're the end users of our programs. So, but everyone is welcome to take it, and we would love 100% participation. But we'll hope to get as much feedback as we can, and you can do it online, or if you want to do it in person, you can come down we can we can help or get you a computer, or we've got a computer lab at our 845. So we've got ways if you don't have access to internet and you want to fill it out.
We have ways.
We have ways.
I love it. So, cool fact, we bumped into your executive director, Tony Ives, the other day. We were down on MLK handing out food and water during the really hot weather with the Goodwill STEM students. And Tony drove by. So he stopped and I introduced him to the kids. And, I asked the question, is the community needs assessment for, everyone? And he said, well, he wasn't sure about for kids, like young adults, like 17-year-olds. So there was going to be some conversation in that. So I don't know if you guys had that conversation or not, but the other thing he shared is they will be coming on to the conduit to go through the needs assessment. So that will be coming soon. So that will be getting scheduled shortly. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I know Chelsea and Tony are excited to come on and kind of do a deeper dive into it, but I'm just blasting it out whenever I get the opportunity, because definitely something we hope to get some good feedback. And I don't know, I'll loop back with Tony. I don't know the answer to 17 or 16 for those that are 18 or younger. So I'll try to get that answer for next time.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, please do take that assessment. If you want change, you have to get involved in the process. And so folks are actually asking. They're like, what do you want us to do? What do you see? What's important? What don't you like? So this is a great opportunity here. And it sounds like this wasn't the first time that the community needs assessment has been done, but this is the first time I've heard of it. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, so it's linked through, it's required as part of the CSBG. That's one of our funding sources. And I think it's the Community Services Block Grant, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so a lot of the CAP agencies, which KCR is one, that's Community Action Partnership. And we're a specific type of nonprofit. It's kind of part of this network of areas that maybe don't have a lot of philanthropy or other private sources, although there are in bigger cities as well. But anyways, so we're part of this kind of collaborative, and one of the requirements is that I believe it's every 3-ish years, although there's some flexibility there, but every so often you have to do a community needs assessment, right? That's part of keeping that relationship with the community and getting feedback. And besides just being required, I know it's something myself and a lot of us really believe in feedback, whether that's from staff, clients, or even partners, right? Of surveying how are we doing, right? What's going on? And I know we've done that with the KEPA, the Buy-in For partners, right? We've had some survey and some feedback time, when we're a little after kind of one of the first rounds. And so it's something I really like to do and think it's really, really valuable. As far as, so you don't miss stuff, right? It's easy to miss stuff. And it's easy to kind of get in the zone and think, what you're doing is the right thing for the community. But there's some good stuff that comes, and there's already a lot of good feedback that's already come in. So very important.
Nice. Absolutely. I love it.
Before I get into data, I actually had some questions for BHA regarding the housing choice voucher, because we've gotten some questions from clients. So can we actually loop back to BHA for a second? Awesome. So we've gotten a few questions from clients about the housing choice voucher waitlist through Rent Cafe. First, I know part of the process after you collected all of them, then you were going to do a randomization, right, to reorder them, and that was going to be order the wait list. So the first question from some clients is, has that happened yet?
Yep, it has.
Okay, so there is an official order right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so do the number or the wait list number where they're at, is that accessible through Rent Cafe?
No, we don't actually tell anybody their number.
Okay.
It's just not something we have shared, just because it has a lot to do with, we don't know how much time it will take to get their voucher.
Sure.
Do you want to speak more on that, Jill?
I think it's just hard, because if you tell somebody they're, like number 25, that could mean different things to different people.
Sure.
What we're trying to figure out is a system where if someone calls and to find out where they're at on the wait list, that we can, instead of giving them no information, that we can say, the timeline for when you might expect to hear from us would be like during this 6-month period.
Mhm.
Okay.
But we just haven't gotten that really worked out yet. We haven't started pulling from the wait list yet. We will be soon.
Okay.
It just, right now, if someone gets a voucher, they have 120 days. They can ask for an extension of 90 days. And now we're even providing a further extension to that upon what's the 60 days. So, just depending on when, vouchers expire, there's just so much that goes into it that it's giving people a number isn't always helpful.
You know what is the lesson here?
Yeah, and we definitely understand for the KEPA rent assistance wait list. There's so much stuff that varied that we tried to go to timeline estimates as well, even though there was a number. I definitely have a lot of empathy for it. I understand clients wanting a number, right? Because it's like a hard, like, what's my place in line? But it also can mean a lot of, you're right, can mean a lot of different stuff. So that's very understandable. So is the best way, should we tell clients to call you if they want to know a timeline, or is that not appropriate?
No, they can call us. We give us a little bit of time because we're trying to get staff trained up into what to say. But yeah, I mean, they can call us or they can stop by too.
Okay. Sounds
We're not
good.
going to advertise that right now, but if you've got people that you're working with, that's fine.
Okay. No, that's really great. Thank you. Yeah, we've had a few of those for some of the folks that we're working with, or even just in general. I know the front desk has brought that. So I was like, well, I will ask the BHA.
One thing I will note, which I've handled a lot of those calls where people want to know, okay, what am I on the list? And I say, yep, you're on the list. And they say, okay, what's my spot? And I say, well, we don't give spots, and we haven't started pulling from that list yet. And I think the biggest point of that not giving a number right now is that people shouldn't stop looking for solutions, because I say this is not an immediate emergency housing voucher.
Yeah.
Keep trying. And it's like, I need a place tomorrow. And it's like, you're on the program, you're on the list, but please keep looking for resources and trying to figure out how you can help your immediate needs. Because this program, even if you were number one, we wouldn't know what time you would get your voucher or how long that would actually take. So please, it's important that it's a great rental assistance program, but it's definitely not for your immediate need.
Yeah, and we are when folks ask, we are telling them that that's not a quick solution. So we're trying to support that narrative, and we've had our front desk folks let people know, especially if they're coming for immediate solutions, that we're steering them more towards Housing Solution Center and shelter if they need immediate solutions rather than the Section 8 or the Housing Choice voucher.
That's awesome. Do you have more questions for BHA? I like when this.
No, those are the main three. No, that was great. So thank you. Okay, well, you ready for some data, Marwan?
You already know I am.
So the wait list for last podcast was 548. And if you'll remember, we closed the wait list, right? Because we really think we're getting close to allocating and then spending down the last of the COVID money. So right now, the wait list has been closed since July 8th. So about a month, the wait list has been closed. So we are starting to make some progress. So the wait list is down to 372. So we've taken a big chunk out of the people that are waiting. I wish we could have made that while the wait list was still open, but there's just so many. Even in that first week of July, though the wait list was open, we got 132 applications, just in a week. Wow. So it was, this is kind of the only way, to really get the wait list down, and then now to ensure that we can fund all those applications. So I know there's definitely frustration out there. Our front desk staff, they hear a lot of people coming in trying to get assistance, and then unfortunately we have to tell them that it's not available at this moment. So Yeah, that's definitely something we hope, if we underestimated, we can open back up the wait list for a little bit, but we don't know that as of yet. So we're rapidly trying to get through the wait list.
But that is 176 households there, Matt, that have
yeah.
come off the wait list. 176 is a massive amount.
Yeah, and some of those are processed, and some of those are still actively being worked with. So yeah, we've given our team a lot of applications to try to work through. But so even with that, our actual performance has still gone down a little bit. So last month we were at 195, about 1.5 million. So we're at 154 and just at $1 million spent. There's a few reasons for that, which we'll get into a second. But the good thing is 81 from the wait list were actually processed last month. So that's a good number. The buy-in-4s have gone down significantly, only 19, which is interesting. And I think there's probably a few reasons for that. One, we've limited second round, right? We're still only serving the first round folks. And I think that's probably a lot of it, is we might be approaching a lot of the end of the networks for the buy-in-4s. So we'll see. I'm curious, Marwan, if you have any thoughts on that, of why that number has slowed down quite a bit.
I would agree with your first statement in that, a lot of folks that are coming into us need second or third round help.
Yeah.
And so that is the biggest. I think we probably have reached our saturation point as far as first time folks that are in need. And so folks coming in now are like, hey, I need some help. I need some help. I literally got a text yesterday asking for help. So
yeah,
I think that's the main answer. So I agree with that.
Yeah, which is good on. Again, I always wish we have enough rent assistance to just serve whoever needs it. So I want to make that caveat. But I do think, again, a big victory for the buy-in-4 and KCR relationship is that we've probably got a lot of people that were connected to the buy-in-4s, at least one round of assistance, right? That we at least connected those folks to at least one. Now, did we fully meet the need? Probably not. But at least we helped at least get some of those community members, right, that traditionally have not had access. And so I'm really, really proud of that. And that's what I hope this number means, right? We'll see if that keeps going. The other interesting thing, so yeah, 19, and then we had legals. We had 52 legal. So those are still coming in. They bounce between 50 and 80. Those have been somewhat consistent. The other thing of note there is that a lot of the legal folks, I just talked to Emily, our legal navigator, is about 80% of those are folks that have actually got assistance once. And you remember our policy, if you're actively being evicted, that's the one time we break. If we get a referral from Dispute Resolution Center, Kitsap Legal Services, or Northwest Justice, the one time we'll break the first time rule is if you're actually going to be evicted imminently, right? You're in the eviction process, you're going to court. And so what Emily was saying is that roughly 80% of those folks have actually had assistance before. So I think that's actually even though they're not stable, right? That's not the majority of folks, right? The vast majority of folks have not come back through. But what that also means is that a lot of folks got assistance. It's not like we're seeing a lot of people that are getting evicted that have never even heard of the program, right? So most of these folks have actually gotten connected once. So again, there's a pro and con to look at this, but I think the upside of this is that the outreach, the legal partners in KCR, the buy-in-4s, all of us as a system did a really good job of getting the word out there. And most of the folks that were at imminent risk or at risk of eviction are getting, actually over 3/4 of them at least got connected at some point through the various needs. So as far as a system performance, I take that as really good numbers, is that we did a really good job across the whole system of outreaching and letting people know, what, and getting that first round of assistance. Now, again, the downside is it's still not fully enough, right? And I think this is where we're bumping systems with Bremerton Housing Authority's housing choice voucher system, right? Is a lot of these folks need ongoing rent assistance, right? They weren't able to afford it before the pandemic with the rent assistance that just got them through, but now they're not able to afford it after. And so, right, the COVID was really designed for emergency to just get people through the pandemic. But we know there was a crisis beforehand. There were so many people that couldn't even afford it at all, right, beforehand. And now our system kind of helped a lot of those folks out, but they really need ongoing rent assistance. And that's why what Jill has done with the housing choice voucher system has been so amazing, getting so many people. And I really hope we will have that bridge of a lot of people, we can get them stable long enough, right, that then if their name comes up on the housing choice voucher, because I do think there's a lot of similarities in those communities. Yeah, Jill.
So, Matt, this might be a really good time for us to talk, because if you have the list of these people that are already in a home and you've gotten them this assistance, but your assistance is only going to go for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had a preference strategy in place saying they're coming off another federal program, that we could get them vouchers faster. We don't have a preference in place yet, and I've been very hesitant to put one in just because there's a lot of controversy around that. But this sounds like a great opportunity for, because they're already in homes.
Yeah, I definitely think there's some synergy there to help us, use vouchers, right? And because there is a lot of people that we've identified that would be stably housed, but really just need ongoing rent assistance, right? Let's set up a meeting, Jill. That would be awesome to talk through how we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a lot. There's a lot in the data here for sure, right? And a lot of different conclusions. And so I think that's, glad we're getting to share it and having different people able to chew on it. We did go, like I said, down, 154 applications versus 195. So we have been going down a little bit. I was talking with Carlo, the rent assistance manager, and our data. We think that's because three kind of things. So first, we have some of the cases that we're getting are cases that have been waiting a while and are complicated. So I think some of the cases are taking a little longer. There's also like a landlord fatigue. I think we've worked with so many landlords. I think some of them are just a little sick of us. And so, we're having maybe some delay getting paperwork or processing. And it's hard when you're some of these property management companies only have one or two staff members, right, for hundreds of units. And then they have to do all of this paperwork, right, for any time, the tenant wants to get rent assistance, and that's on top of their normal duties. So we try to be really sensitive that it is really tough doing paperwork over and over again. So that's definitely a piece of it. And then the clients themselves, right, especially the ones that are coming in, if it's their first time now, a lot of them owe. So we're seeing the amount per application go up. We're seeing the amount of months paid. And some of these folks have really been waiting patiently a long time. So we're going to try to get through this wait list, especially this next month. We really want to get more than half of that wait list left processed. And that's really our goal, to get it maybe under a quarter. So we'll really have some better data on how much we actually spent, and I can start announcing if we're going to open back up or if not, so people can try to plan. The other piece too is we've had, it's summertime, and we've, there is some COVID cases still going around. And so we've had some staff out sick and vacation. And so we've definitely had some absences that have kind of stacked on top. And then the last, just our, we were looking at our numbers, we had some amazing numbers and our team just stepped up through March and April. That's when we were like almost 300 applications. But what we looked at, and when we were actually going through, person by person, some of the staff members were processing, like during those months, some of the staff were processing like 60 to 70 applications just on their own. And so some of the staff were just Herculean efforts, but it just wasn't sustainable, right? And they were burning themselves out. So part of what Carla has done, and so some of it is a reflection of trying to have a little more sustainable and take care of our team. And we need to be able to do this right and finish it out and not just burn out. So that's also a reflection of bringing our numbers down a little bit and That's what we suspect is going on. But yeah, that's the base numbers for July, and we'll have some more in next month. Any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Matt. So based on the numbers now, is there a more accurate? Could you see a little bit into the future? Does it look like there's an increase in the chance that it might open back up even for a short amount of time, or is it still too early to tell?
Right now, what we think, based, and like you said, we're only about a fourth of the way through the wait list, right, which is almost 600 right before we closed, right? So now we're at 372. So we got what's a fourth-ish. So right now with that, it looks like we're kind of right on track to kind of thread the needle. And what I mean by that is probably not open back up, but we'll be able to have the buy-in-fours finish out their contract. Legal folks will be able to continue, because those are the folks that are literally about to be on the street if we don't help, right? So we're going to keep that going and then finish the wait list right now. And that's not opening back up. So it looks like we're kind of on track for that. The worst case scenario would be if the numbers start jumping up a lot, because then we might have to turn the legal folks off and then potentially even ration some of the buy-in-for amounts. And so that's what we hope not to do. That's kind of worst case scenario. And we would definitely talk with the keeper partners about that if we thought that's what was happening. So we're still just a little too early to fully tell, but it looks right now we're on track to kind of balance that, but not open back up. So that's the early guess. But again, these are just predictions, right? We won't fully know till we're much more into the wait list and seeing how much we're spending. It's a good question, though.
Oh, thank you. Any conversation from the feds in regards to renewing or a new pot of money? Do they see this concern?
No, although the Manchin-Schumer bill that's just got resurrected, I haven't heard if there's anything in that. So I don't know if there's any, the original Build Back Better, I think, Jill, you talked about that too, is the original Build Back Better actually had a decent amount of social services, money. And so what I don't know is what that bill has. So I haven't heard anything from that. But outside of that, and that's still not passed yet. I think it's still very up in the air if that's even going to get passed. But outside of that's the one wild card. But outside of that, there's nothing that would renew this amount of money. So the only thing that we know for sure is that the Washington State legislature, and I've talked about this, is putting together a fund that will be roughly $2 million a year for Kitsap. They're doing that across the state. It's a permanent rent assistance fund. It's an awesome program, but it's $2 million from, we're on track to exceed $20 million this year. So, so we're going to go from $20 million 2022 to $2 million in 2023. And so that's definitely something that is not even close, right, to what the program was before. And that will be a lot more. It'll be definitely less months. There'll be a lot more prioritization based on need, right? Because there's just not enough to go around. And so it won't be this big kind of advertised program. It'll be a lot more targeted, right? Probably through partners, through buy-in-for partners, through the legal folks, right? There'll be a lot of targeting just because there's not enough to go around with that program. So that will look very different, but that is coming. So there will be something that the RAP team will be here permanently. But it'll look very, very different.
And I think that's really important for people to understand that there will be money next year, but it's such a small amount. I mean, the numbers that you gave us was, 1.5 the previous month and 1.4 this month, right? That's in a month you're going through the yearly expenditure for next year. So understanding that, folks will get help, but you might hear, this family got help, but there's no funding. So that kind of goes to my second question. We are constantly getting new subscribers and new viewers. And so because of all these things that are happening, right? The emergency funding is running out. Evictions are open now. COVID is still a thing, right? What advice can we give to folks out there to help them to navigate this when the resources are so sparse? What are some things that they can do for our new listeners?
It is hard. It, it's really hard, and because a lot of our funds right now, especially with the wait list closed, right, most of our funds at KCR are for unhoused folks or folks that are in the treatment or mental health world, right? And there's a lot of folks that, I mean, those are really vulnerable households. There's a lot of folks that are really struggling, but really don't meet, that criteria. And now, since the wait list is closed, we're not able to help. So there is a lot of these folks that are coming in and they share with our front desk just heartbreaking story after heartbreaking story, and of Kitsap really just not being affordable, and that's a problem that's going to take years. It's stuff that we're working on. Jill has done tremendous. Katie of BHA, Housing Kitsap. I mean, there's a ton of folks working on the affordability issue, but it's just not an overnight solution. But we still have folks, and I think it's incredibly difficult for a lot of folks that don't qualify or that didn't get on the housing choice voucher list, or having to wait, right, for a significant amount of time. It's very difficult, and I have so much empathy for them. I think what we find, folks, a lot of this is from Kayak and folks that are part of the immigrant community, is a lot of them are roommates, right, families that are doubled up, and we definitely don't advocate living in unsafe living conditions, but that's honestly how we see a lot of folks surviving right now, is having multiple people in a household, and having multiple incomes contribute to making it. And it's I don't think it's ideal for anyone, but that's sometimes what we see is kind of looking at that direction. I mean, obviously, Marwan, knowing your resources, right? The resources that are available, right? Like our energy program is available right now. And actually not enough, the energy program actually gave some money back this last grant cycle because not enough people took advantage of it. So the energy program is open right now.
Oh, we'll fix that. I will fix that personally. That is a challenge.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk. We're trying to restructure some stuff internally too, to try to get that money spent, because this was as I was just kind of coming on, learning a little bit more about the energy program, coming on as director, learn a little more about the energy program, since I didn't know as much about that. And they do tremendous work, but I think there's some ways that we can, restructure a little bit to make sure we get that money spent down. And so there's a lot of different stuff, like, using, DSHS, right, connecting to food stamps, right, childcare subsidies, right, trying to leverage all the community resources that you can. And the other folks that we find that have a lot of support are the community around them, right? Who are the people that you're surrounding? Who are your neighbors? Who are the family members? And some people don't have that, right? And that's not a fault to them. But there are communities that you might join, right? There's different churches or community groups, right, that provide tremendous support, right, of watching kids while you go do this. And you just can't undervalue those social support structures, and investing in those communities can really help, not just yourself, but when you help someone else, right, kind of these mutual beneficial networks. So, I mean, that's a few things right there that we've seen of folks that have stable, low income community members that have stabilized. But Jill, Katie, I'm curious what you have to say.
I'll just focus a bit on the people that are currently being served in some way by the housing authority. Number one, if you have a voucher and you're out shopping, keep track of the time to when that voucher expires, and make sure that you contact us before that to ask for an extension. That is one of the number one problems that we're seeing. We're going to try and get better at communicating with people. Well, we are going to get better at communicating with people, but it's ultimately, if you have that voucher, be paying attention to the dates, because we know it's hard to find housing. We've got a special waiver that we can extend it even beyond the normal extensions. So stay in touch with us. Let us know what's happening. I would say also, if you are housed with a voucher, I mean, if you're housed at all, but for those people that are housed with vouchers and it's not an ideal situation. If you can make it work, because moving is going to be hard. And once you put in your notice to move with your landlord expects that you're going to move. And you could find yourself, we see it every day with people who become homeless because they wanted to move. Now, it's a different story if your landlord wants you to move, but even then, trying to see any of your legal um, rights to stay housed is really, really important. Um, and I totally agree with Matt on the finding those networks of support, and churches are a great place. We often find voucher holders that find units that never really went on the rental market, but because they were connected with someone who knew someone who had a unit. So getting the word out there for yourself, be open to different areas in Kitsap County. I know a lot of families don't want to have their children go to different schools, and I totally get that. But if that is your only option for housing, consider that. Katie?
I agree. I was also going to mention knowing. Oh, am I echoing? I was going to mention knowing your rights. Washington Law Help, I think, Marwan, you put that on the screen before. There's things in place because of COVID that specifically deposits to move in, they can be made in payments. There's specific laws that are there to support tenants in these situations. So really knowing your rights, looking at the WashingtonLawHelp.org, and possibly calling Northwest Justice Project, who runs that website. The other one, and I've said it before, is prioritizing your living expenses. I know it's hard because it only comes up once a month and you have immediate expenses that are right in front of you. But please don't, if you can, don't stop paying your rent. It's important that you keep your housing and we find those other resources, because as we know from talking here, rental assistance, there's just not enough of it. But there are other resources like BHS and things like that energy, the bill support, other options that let's prioritize our living expenses. Or housing,
if you need
rather.
help with that, have conversations with folks that you trust, or come to KCR or Bremerton Housing Authority, to the buy-in-fours. There are several agencies that do things like that can look at your finances and see where you can cut back and say, okay, you're paying $200 a month on electricity. Well, let's go ahead and get you onto the KCR utility assistance. Okay, do we need to do these things? Should we utilize food banks? Absolutely. How can we save there? Do we alter our shopping? If we're using a car, do we re-synergize, where we go and when we go? We try to knock out as many things as we can when we get behind that wheel, because gas prices are so high, and just start whittling those things down. And as Katie said, prioritize the rent. That's a big one. And sometimes you're too far in the forest to see the trees. And what I mean by that is, you're trying to solve the problem, but you've been trying to solve the problem for so long. A fresh set of eyes can come in and take a look at it and say, "Oh, did you think about this?" And I know there's contentions on, some politicians saying, "Oh, well, if they just cut off their Netflix, they'd be fine." Um, and it's not that, but just looking at where you can get some money back in your pocket to try to cover you. It's summertime now, but fall is coming and winter will be here before we know it. And you definitely want to be housed through the winter time, and kind of work on that. The other thing that I would say too is relationship building is paramount. Being a part of a community is very powerful thing. Whether it's a church or an organization, you can belong to more than one. But I know that a lot of folks have challenges interacting with other people, and that can be difficult. So there are things that you can work as, personal development, professional development, where you're looking on, conflict resolution, um, analyzing. You could do a skill builder. What are your knowledge, skills, and ability? What do you have bring to bear in bartering? I think that's another unspoken resource that people can take advantage of. Maybe you can cook. I have lots of mothers that sell plates of food, and that helps, right? That keeps things going. That's a tank of gas. So you've got these skills, you have these abilities, and just uncovering those things. And it's really all of the above. But don't go it alone. Reach out, ask questions, build relationship, get into community. They may not be able to solve your immediate problems, but they can help to start incrementally working on the things and increase your likelihood that you stay housed. So I think that's powerful. Go ahead, Joe. Jill has a that is the Zoom noise. Is that correct?
I think that's
Or
Teams, the Teams call.
Teams?
Mhm.
It's the Teams call. It's
Mhm.
one of those. All right. Well, let's get into this. Just wanted to show a short video. I didn't want to lose Jill for this because this is I think she's really one of the best people to kind of answer this question here. But I did want to just share this. This was from the mayor. Just a quick uh, 50-second little video here and just kind of get your thoughts on this and see if this is something that is viable for us here in the county.
This is hot off the press. Last night, the Planning Commission.
Oh, let me pause that because you might not be able to hear that. Let me fix that really quick. There we go.
I think it's just us right now, Marwan.
So my question on that is that something that Bremerton Housing Authority is looking into? Do you see this as
Oh,
a good thing?
I was glad I was able to read that because I didn't hear it all. I heard it at first, and then you stopped it, and then I couldn't hear it. So
Oh,
I
then you
didn't
couldn't
hear
hear it.
it.
Really? Oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
that's. Let
So
me
when I
play it
was
again.
talking, I didn't know it was going. Yeah.
All right, let me change it back the other way. That's so funny. All right.
So this is hot off the press. Last night, the Planning Commission completed their work, and so what I'm sharing with you is they recommended unanimously to the City Council, the City Council, that duplexes and townhomes be permitted in all low density residential zones. Cottage housing, which is permit clusters of small homes to be allowed on single lots, and of course density bonus. And this is for religious organizations and agencies like the Bremerton Housing Authority. And you can see 50% density bonus for projects providing 100% affordable housing. So this is obviously it's an incentive to develop affordable housing. Next slide.
So that was it there. Is that does that sound like something that the Bremerton Housing Authority is going to get into? Is that helpful? Because I don't
It
understand
sounds
how that
promising
works.
from the bullet points. More units on more lots. That's what I see from that, and I think, um, loosening those restrictions to provide for more innovative ideas is really important. If we want to have more affordable housing, which clearly Kitsap does not have housing in general right now. So I think more opportunities for that is really important. Of course, they named us by name in that video. Um, we were talking about I think Jill was talking before about an 8-unit complex we're thinking of developing on one of our properties that could possibly be a much larger complex, same footprint, but maybe smaller units and more units. So I think it sounds promising. It's great, hot off the press. I like that language, and be interested to see the more discussion about it before it hits the city council in the fall, which is coming soon. So
Yeah, it is coming soon. So just trying to get a grappling on that. And, like, does Birmingham Housing Authority know this, and what religious organizations are out there since this is allowable for religious organizations? Do you have religious organizations that partner with BHA to provide housing now, currently?
not that I know of. But it is, I'm assuming, because Jill attends these meetings all the time, not necessarily, I don't know if the planning commission meeting, but the city council meetings every week, to make sure that, we're aware of everything the city is planning to do, and also the community input that's coming through about housing. So I'm assuming Jill knows a little bit more, could speak to it, and I'd be interested to see how this turns out, because again, loosening that and making it more flexible, having the availability for more units, what sounds good to me. Matt, do you have anything to say about that?
No, sorry, I'm dropping off. I'm probably going to echo because my phone died.
Oh no, you're good.
Oh no,
you're okay.
You're good. You're good.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's a lie.
Yeah, no,
that's a lie.
I'm excited. Is it bad now?
Only when we speak.
Only when we speak.
Only when you all speak. Okay. No, I'm excited for it. Zoning is it can be a big challenge, but it's exciting that the city's doing their part. But it's the development is still so we're still a long way to go, right? So this is one step, and hopefully this will be helpful. But we're still, because the developers still have to have an appetite for affordable housing, which so far they've really not shown, an appetite to develop on their own, and that's left, the nonprofit world to try to build, all of the affordable housing that it can, but there's still a stopgap. So I hope this will be helpful, but I think there still needs to be more done to truly incentivize the private market to respond.
Yeah, I guess I wish this density bonus would extend beyond just religious organizations. And I can't wait to talk to Jill and see if BHA knows of religious organizations that are in the housing world, affordable housing world, because this is pretty restrictive and limited if it isn't. So it'd be nice if that can be expanded. But folks are trying to do something, and what's great is we're trying to understand it, right? So it's like, okay, we need to do something about affordable housing. What's happening? So these are one of these things, and so we wanted to bring it here and have a discussion and kind of educate the audience. And this is what's happening. This is how they could potentially work. Here's some, other things to consider, and yada yada yada. Because it really is going to be all of the above to solve this issue for sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we had a really good episode. Unfortunately, we're not going to have Matt for the next 3 weeks. He's going to be gone for a while, so you won't see him until, is it August 31st? I think I saw.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm next week. I got some conflicts, and then I'm on vacation for 2 weeks. So I'm getting out of town, and then I'll be back that last week of August.
Well, enjoy your vacation. And hopefully you may join us for the Andor podcast, because that will be coming up here soon. So Matt sounds pretty excited. He had a big smile there, so I think that's a go, which is great. Yep. So Rob was like, make sure you talk to Matt today. Like, I will, Rob. I will. I promise. Katie, will you be back next week?
I'm hopeful. I have some appointments in the morning, but I'm hopeful. I know we're still trying to talk about what we want to do for the deep dive next week. I'm hoping Kirsten will be here. So just lots going on, and it's definitely still summertime, isn't it?
It is for sure. Well, maybe what we do is I can touch base with Anthony Ives and put it on standby for next Wednesday in case Kirsten isn't available. Since Matt's going to be gone, that might be a good time to go over the needs assessment as we already have an audience that tunes in, so we don't have to do an extra new time where we'll miss some folks. That might be a good thing to do. Sound good?
Sounds good to me. Yeah. And
all right.
You might ask for the last word, so I'm just gonna put it out there that Jill mentioned Rent Cafe. We're opening the public housing wait lists, and Rent Cafe is our online platform where you make an account so you can apply to any of our wait lists when they're open. So even though the public housing wait lists aren't posted yet and they're not open yet, please register for Rent Cafe if you're not already on it. If you are already on it, make sure you have your password and your email all set up so you'll be ready when we do open those wait lists, hopefully in the later September.
All right. Man, you know me so well. How did you know that the last word was coming? Wow, I'm going to have to shake it up a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but the show has changed, right? I mean, the music changed first, and now the colors are different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so every show has its own theme now, with its own colors, and the thumbnails for the show have changed. So growing, we're doing a little bit better as we continue to, provide.
You're doing great,
this
Marwan.
platform.
It's awesome.
Well,
thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Well, it's only a success because of all of you that come on and share your information and talk and have the conversation. So thank you back at you. So for Jill and Katie and Matt, I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. We will see y'all next time. Well, I'll see you in about 2 hours for the city council meeting, and I will be talking tonight, giving my public comment. So stay tuned for